Shalom Talmidim. Immediately after the rebellion that we have seen, there is a reaction. This particular one is not done by anybody. There's no test. It is an immediate Magefa, or Negef, a plague of sickness that is much more rapid, much more intense than anything we've even seen in our own times. It starts here. Vayomer Moshe el Aaron, kach et machta, v'tein aleha esh mi'al mizbeach. Take the machta, take the machtot, a new one. Take another fire pan, v'tein aleha esh mi'al mizbeach. Take fire from the mizbeach. V'sim ketoret, v'holech mehera el ha'eda, v'chaper alehem. Go quickly, mahera, like maher, ela Ada, go to this Ada, the same Ada that's rebelling against them, by the way, v'chaper lehem, and atone for them. Why? Ki yatza haketzaf, this plague, this wrath, this anger, people started dying immediately, has gone out. Yatza, it left. Milfnei Hashem, echel hanegef, the plague has begun. It's interesting because we don't have psukim that tell us that there will be a plague. We just see that as a reaction to the fact that Bnei Yisrael have started rebelling, just like Hashem said, Achaleh otam, he's going to consume them. Well, it began. They started getting killed by this plague. And Moshe says he has to go take the ketoret, the incense, and go. What is something most interesting here is this theme of the ketoret. What was one of the original things that led to this rebellion, right? The test. Korach and his Ada went up against Aaron. What did they use for the test? It was the Machta and Ketoret. The same thing they used that demonstrated, that proved that Aaron and Moshe were the proper leaders. The same Zichron that the Machtot were made into at the Tzipoy Lemizbeach, and there will be a Zikaron, a reminder, remembrance, that who should bring the Ketoret? Not an Ish Zar, not the Bnei Yisrael, but the Bnei Aaron. That same exact thing is now saving them from rebelling when they forgot about it. There's a reminder. Don't rebel against Hashem. Don't rebel against Moshe. They rebelled. There's a plague. What stops the plague? The Ketoret. One of the two things they're supposed to remember are just for Aaron. It all comes full circle. You also see Moshe and Aaron stepping up and standing up for Bnei Yisrael, despite the trouble they have caused. You have a few words here that we've worked out. The shoresh lakach we've seen before is to take. Right? Kach here means to take. The yud can come off. It's a yona letter. Sim is place. We've seen that before as well over here. Sim. Mehera means quickly. Maher. Shoresh of kaper means to atone, to forgive or bring forgiveness. Katzaf is wrath, and a negaf is a plague. Take these down in your cheat sheet so you have them for later. As he brings them, Vayakach Aaron, he listened, he took the Ketoret. Kasher diber Moshe, like Moshe said. Again, interesting that it's not Hashem giving these instructions this time. It's Moshe who has figured out the Ketoret is a segula, a means of, or likely means of, avoiding plague. In fact, at the beginning of COVID, many people started saying Pitum HaKetoret. In davening, there's a section of Tefillah where we remember the Ketoret. So V'yikach Aaron kasher diber Moshe, just like Moshe said, V'yaratz el toch hakahal. He ran toward the community, not necessarily doing this avoda as it regularly is. It's always part of the avoda of the Beit HaMikdash. He's running over to the kahal to do this. V'hine hechel hanegef, the beginning of the plague. The plague had started in the nation. V'yitein et Ketoret. He gave the Ketoret. He did the service. The avoda, v'chaper al ha'am, he atoned for the am, he brought forgiveness for the nation, and it was able to stop the negaf. The Ketoret is something that kind of clears the air with a rush of spirituality, a rush of positive Kedusha holiness, and it's able to stop whatever sickness. We don't actually know what sickness it was exactly, but we're able to stop the sickness, the plague, from consuming the nation. You have some of the same words here. You might not need them again. Lakach you just took. Ratzah is the shoresh for the to run. Hachal means to begun, has begun, and Natan is to put. Over here we saw that he was vitain. Again, Nun is a Yodel letter. It drops off from the shoresh of Natan. Now he said, Vayamod bein hametim uvein hachayim v'te'atzar hamagefa. Aaron, as he's taking the Ketoret, stands between the two groups. One group is the Metim, those that had already died. One group is the Chayim, those that are still alive. Te'atzar hamagefa, he stops the plague. He stands up there, he really tries to stop the plague from happening. He stands up and tries to save the same people who are accusing him of killing those in the test. He demonstrates that, no, I did not kill the ones in the test. It was a consequence from Hashem, and I'm trying to help you guys. You have a little bit more here on your cheat sheet, for your cheat sheet here. Mad means to stand. Mavet is the shoresh of death. The Metim, again, Yona letter, drops off that Vav. Atzar means to stop, and the Magefa is another way of saying that plague. Vayu hametim b'magefa. How many people that died in the Magefa? It was Arba Asar Elef v'Sheva Me'ot. 14,000. Arba Asar is 14. Elef is 1,000. V'Sheva Me'ot is 700. 14,700 people died in this Magefa. This was a very serious one. Milavad hametim al devar korach. This is separate from the people that died in the rebellion of Korach. This is a lot of loss. This is very sad. And yes, it was very serious to rebel. It just shows just how serious it really was and how important it was that Aaron was able to stop this with Moshe's advice. So how many people died here? This is not including those that died in the rebellion of Korach. It was Arba Asar Aleph v'Sheva Me'ot. 14,700. It's a lot of people. We have a few words here. Vahayu is a conjugation of Haya here. Milavad means aside from those, Adavar Korach, from the matter of Korach, the thing of Korach. We're really trying here to move past the pain, move past the death, and it's going to be the job of real leaders like Moshe and Aaron. Afterwards, Vayashav Aaron el Moshe. Aaron returned to Moshe el Petach Ohel Moed, opening of the Ohel Moed, where this all really began. V'hamagefa ne'etzara. And the Magefa had stopped. It was a somber moment. It was a quiet moment as I come back to the Ohel Moed. There's going to be a kind of a returning, realizing what happened, to deal with that, and they have to move forward. We have a few more words. Shuv means to return. Vayashav, again that Yonah letter here. Petach is the opening of the Ohel Moed, where everyone would stay. The Kohanim usually served. Magefa is that plague, and Atzar, stop if you don't have it again. We're going to see that upcoming, there's going to be one more test. They're going to see who is a leader once and for all, because it clearly was not communicated clear enough. It clearly was not demonstrated that Moshe and Aaron were the leaders, and there's going to be one more leadership test. This is going to be one that is not prompted by another rebellion. It's just as a demonstration to show, guys, we need to be serious. We need to take this seriously, and we need to stop the rebellion, we need to be on the same team. We need to be focused on Hashem. And sometimes being focused on Hashem means accepting that someone is a leader, even if it means that we are not. Even if that means having that humility and having to accept that I don't get to make the choices. I don't get to say or have what I want, per se. But I do get to be on the right side of things. And that is going to be shown one more time in a more peaceful manner in the next section of this parsha.